This week on Across the Arrowverse, The Flash had the wrong title, Arrow had teams upon teams upon teams, and Legends was surprisingly quite good? Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Matthew Vose.
And I'm Catherine Kay.
We've had an upgrade of equipment during the hiatus, so we now have really nice two microphones and an audio interface with everything coming in. This has been bought through the support of our amazing patrons through Patreon, so huge shout out to everyone who supports us, and hopefully you will enjoy a much higher quality audio fidelity.
Thank you, guys.
This week we are discussing the episodes The Flash, The Trial of the Flash, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Daddy Darkest, and Arrow, Divided. So it's been a couple of months at least. I think 2.5 months since we were...
It feels like a really long time, doesn't it?
They've been off a while. I mean, we've covered a number of things in the interim, which I think are about to come into play.
Yeah,
so we've
definitely.
done this well. Do you want to recap us on where we were before the season closed?
Yeah, like stuff happened.
There were superheroes.
And we left each series with a cliffhanger and everybody in peril. Diddle-a, diddle-a, diddle-a. And off we go.
It has been a while. So to recap, on The Flash, he was discovered with the body of Clifford DeVoe, the new villain, but DeVoe has transferred his energy into young, good-looking, very CW type chap.
Very sinister, though.
Very sinister.
Young and good-looking, yes, but properly sinister.
Yeah. On the Legends, Malice is real, so the Time Bureau are going to look into that, and Constantine has turned up, and Damien Dark is back. Again. And on Arrow, he's being investigated. He's not allowed to be the Green Arrow, so we asked someone else to be the Green Arrow, but they can't now be the Green Arrow, so he's now being the Green Arrow again, and there's other people who have betrayed him, and at the same time there's a whole villain thing going on.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Too many people, no one trusts anyone.
There's a lot going on in the Arrow. Yeah. We're not covering Supergirl. Supergirl is not back on in the UK yet. What it seems like it will be is they will wrap up the season of DC's Legends of Tomorrow and then take us back into Supergirl. So actually, when it comes back, we'll be more up to date on Supergirl when it airs in the US than we are on these shows at the moment. They've been back a little while. So
have we only got a mini series of Legends of Tomorrow then?
Yeah, I think it's only going to be like 16 episodes.
Oh, so not that mini. Mini by US standards, but not really mini at all.
Yeah, 15 episodes in total, so a little bit longer than a Mad Men or a Game of Thrones, shorter than a normal season of a CW show,
right? About
the same length as a Star Trek Discovery.
Which seems a perfect sufficiency to me.
I think it's about right. Discovery has basically been on since these shows have been off, certainly that second half of Discovery.
Yeah.
And the slightly longer season of Event TV gave them space to do a couple of one-off episodes that were really good, whilst also having a clear narrative thread and not too much distraction.
Yeah.
So hopefully Legends will pull this off.
Yeah.
Let's go through them in sequence. So we'll start off with The Flash. The Trial of the Flash. This was not the Trial of the Flash, though. This was the Trial of Barry Allen.
Very much so.
Yeah. Not a lot seemed to happen except for a new Meta who they defeated.
Yeah, I got the real impression that the Meta, Mr. Radioactive Man, whatever.
That's the superhero from The Simpsons.
Yeah, really.
Fallout.
Sorry, Fallout. I got a distinct impression that he was not really the point for most of that episode. It felt very much an episode of re-establishing relationships, possibly planting the seeds for some future character moments or future developments, and yes, setting the pieces up on the chessboard rather than too much execution. Because I mean, Barry Allen's trial was never going to go any other way than that.
But they were all so surprised when he was found guilty.
oh, shock horror.
No, they've set us up to expect this to happen.
Yeah,
he himself has said this is going to happen.
Yeah, it was never going to end any other way.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the trial itself was the most boring bit.
It really was.
Yeah.
Because it was so obvious what was going to happen. There was the slight twist of, are they going to catch her out? And then, no, they're not, because they cannot be one step ahead of this villain, certainly at this point in the season. Yeah,
because Devoe is basically, they're setting him up like he's the most, almost like a powerful human computer brain.
Yes.
Like that he can foresee every potential eventuality and therefore plan for it.
Yeah, an eighth dimensional intellect and all of this, yeah.
And now he can also see into someone's mind. Now, I find that whole thing really sinister.
Mm.
Could you really be with someone who's, would you still want to be with me if I could see into your mind? I'd find it really sinister. Yeah,
I think there are probably stories like this where it works and it's okay. I hadn't really thought on that side of the new power. Because so far it's all been about the planning and the execution, the 12% that you're going to reveal that you're the Flash and all that. And I still feel like she's going to be important in the story.
Yes.
She's not just a sidekick here.
I think she is going to be his downfall.
Yeah.
In the end, because I think the new version of him with this extra power is so much colder and darker, more controlling, and also she hasn't even got the space to have her own feelings.
Yeah.
Because if she's having feelings that he doesn't like her having, he'll call her out on it, and it's horrid.
That's the bit that I hadn't considered, and yeah, you're absolutely right. It will be really interesting if she does doubt him, and he knows she's doubting him. How do you deal with that? How do you? It's almost, it could end up going to a Zoom-esque thing with just the very villainous bad guy. He is just bad because he's evil and he wants power.
Yeah.
I never quite got that sense from Devoe so far, so I hope they still keep it nuanced, that he is doing the villain thing of the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, do we know...
No, the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Yes. Do we know what his aim is?
No, we don't know the end goal yet, I don't think.
Right.
So I'm interested to see how that goes. And the final scene with him and Barry in the same room together, the fact he signs off with "Have a nice life," he is now moving into stage 2.
Yes, it's like he's pushed Barry aside as far as he's concerned.
Dealt with the thing he needed to deal with, which Barry could still just get out of prison and fight him anyway.
Yeah, I must admit, and perhaps there is something cleverer coming, but him thinking that this is Barry Allen dealt with doesn't really fit with the whole mega mind, I plan for every eventuality type aspect of it.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I don't know there. It
will be interesting to see. The episode as a whole, you're right, it was very much setting things up. It made me think of a lot of the one-shot comic book episodes they do before comic events. So when they've done Rebirth or Crisis or Final Crisis or Infinite Crisis or Identity Crisis or Crisis on Earth X or Crisis on Infinite Earths or the DC likes its crises.
Crisis in Godalming.
Yeah, exactly. They usually prelude them with a prelude to Rebirth, prelude to Crisis,
right.
Build up to Road to Path to, something along those lines. This really felt like that, a one shot that had a very clear story, getting everything in place and giving us the bits of the narrative that we'll need going on. So reminding us about people's power, doing the discussion about why he doesn't reveal himself.
Yeah.
So fine, we're going to put that argument to bed now because we've seen every side of it. It did a lot of that work. So it almost feels like we're moving into endgame territory, not halfway through the season. So it's making me hopeful there's something good coming, but it's so strange that the villain of the week was completely divorced from the main plot.
Also, we think so far.
So it seems so far, but normally there would be some sort of parallel other than building us up for that speech at the end, which they could have done with any villain. The only thing that really comes out of that seems to be is, hey, send the energy to Earth 15 because Earth 15 is dead.
Was dead.
Yeah, that's not going to come back and haunt you. Don't worry, lads.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of weird things about that Fallout guy. I mean, and I am hoping that it's going to be explained a bit more fully, or there's going to be a bit more background to it, because it doesn't feel like a real meta power. Because it's not a power as such.
Yeah.
And the guy didn't know anything about this power until this episode. It was all, and it seems to almost be a curse rather than a power.
Yeah.
Certainly at the start, just wandering around and accidentally killing
knocking people out.
knocking people out. I also didn't. It was a bit weird the way he was like, "Oh help! What's happening to me? Oh, and now I'm going to blast you with my radioactive rays."
Yeah. Suddenly he's got hand lasers, taser face,
and also when did he go? At what moment did he go from "help me" to "I'm going to shoot at you"?
Yeah, it didn't quite gel. It felt a bit forced getting Killer Frost there and then knocking her out straight away.
Yeah.
I
just wonder if is he also part of DeVoe's machinations?
I feel like he might be. He might be a bus meta. Because it would seem very strange that this has only just come to a head now and so quickly, but...
It also seems like a very strange coincidence that Mr. Radioactive Man happened to get the radioactive powers and be someone that drove nuclear waste around. Unless his power isn't that he's Mr. Radioactive Man, is it that he sucks in and then exudes energy and power of whatever's near him?
Yeah, Nuclear Man, maybe?
Dunno.
It'll be interesting to see. Like you, I'm expecting there to be a follow-up on this. So.
And if there isn't, I will be very disappointed.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that will be a very lazy little bit of writing.
Normally the writing is a bit more nuanced to at least have plot A and plot B come together somewhere. Yeah. The speech in this was a very weak way, if that was what it is. So I have an expectation for that.
Yes.
Okay, so Barry's now in prison in his dad's cell.
Yeah, convenient.
Of course,
that.
Yeah.
And of course his dad's the only person that's ever graffitied that cell.
And they've not painted over that in the meantime. Anyway. Iris had a moment in this that was nice with her barging in. The Speed Force moment itself was a bit odd, but they did need to do that discussion.
Yes.
To explain why, because not everyone is going to be as versed in that side of why you keep the secret identity and have spent so much time thinking about it, so it was important to do it. It was a bit of a strange moment in the courtroom, but I liked her recovery from it as well.
Yes,
she is a much better character than she has been in the past.
Yeah, I think she continues to please.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone else spanned their wheels. That Joe, we explained why he wasn't doing his thing. Is it even that? That's why it feels like this is a prelude. We're just doing, yes, we could do that story, but here's why we're not doing it. Yes, we could do Flash revealing himself, but this is why we're not doing it. Yes, we could do him going on the run, and that's why we're not doing it. We're just putting all the other stories we could do to bed, and this is what we're going to give you. Tune in next week.
Yeah.
Same Flash channel.
So enjoyable, but not the best Flash we've ever had.
Yeah, there wasn't much fun in this one.
No.
So we said for Arrow we wanted to particularly talk about Oliver and Felicity and their relationship, Felicity's company, and Oliver's son, and the development of Oliver as a leader. Oliver and Felicity didn't really get anything this week. As a couple. No. As colleagues, yes. Oliver's son wasn't in it.
No.
Felicity's company wasn't really there. There was a bit of a thing with her and Curtis working on something together, but it wasn't...
Not major.
It was tangential to the company. And Oliver was a solid leader, but it came to nothing anyway.
Yes. But, I think his past failings of trust basically came home to roost.
Yeah?
His past failings as a leader. I mean, then they're not willing to be led anymore.
Yeah. Do we think they're doing a story of this is now him at his lowest and he is going to build back up from here? Regaining people's trust through his action, through his work.
I think it has to, or else it'd be a really bloody miserable series. Oh yeah, it's Arrow. It might be a really miserable series anyway. Yeah, no, I think they have to. I think it will take... I mean, we've got lots more episodes left in this series for Arrow, haven't we? So I think it'll have to probably pan out and be a bit miserable for a few more episodes. I feel like the whole deal with Caden James, or whatever he's called, I feel that has to come to a climax soon.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of story going on there. The whole evil cabal villainous force thing, there's a lot of people who have different interests going on, and now you have the Russians in there too. The vigilante thing with Dinah, so that's quite strange as well. So there's just so much going on. Yeah, it needs to move into, for him, phase 2. Whatever he is building up towards.
Do we know what he wants either?
I don't think so. I think we've had more obvious getting things prepared to move forward.
Yeah.
But we're about to see that.
Yeah.
But the problem is on Arrow, previously it's always been we're going to destroy the city, we're going to wipe out all the poor people, things like that.
Yeah.
And I think he's even had a comment of, people want to destroy it, where you could, I can't remember what he said, rebuild it or something. So it's going to be a bit different than we've had before, but he's going to put it in place, and then the rest of the season is the Arrow team fighting against it. We'll see.
I think I'm not bright enough for Arrow this season. There's just too many people.
There's a lot going on with it.
And I'm just like, who are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, and particularly with such a long break between them.
Yes.
And I think the previously on was focused on the Team Arrow goings on.
Right.
And don't forget, he's got this huge group of villains facing off against him now. But we're not interested in each of their stories at the moment.
Yeah.
I think we will come there. I think we will have the Deathstroke and his son story, and we'll have the vigilante story, and we'll have the drug dealing guy with a gun. Diaz, I want to say.
Ramirez.
Yeah, something.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, it was something on those lines.
I don't know.
Are you doing a Highlander reference there? You are, aren't you? I like it. I have lots of time for a Highlander reference. And of course you have Black Canary.
Right. Why does she keep changing her hair? Like, what's that all about? Why does she sometimes wear the nice black wig and sometimes just have the boring long blonde hair?
Yeah. I don't know.
I like, because the first time she wore the wig, I was like, oh, okay, she's in a poor disguise. And this time I was like, but I don't think she's even incognito. Why has she got the wig on?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a bit strange. They are setting her dad up to die this season, aren't they?
Please.
They are going to do something big with him, and I suspect they're going to kill Detective Lance.
I think she's going to kill him.
Yeah?
I think this is going to be a Kylo Ren moment.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering if it was going to be Caden James or one of the Cabal is going to kill him, and that's what's going to turn her against them.
Oh, that could happen.
A connection there, something like that. Because again, I think we felt like she might be a weak link.
Yeah, maybe.
So, okay.
Maybe.
We'll see. Arrow continues. So Legends of Tomorrow, we skip over Legends of Tomorrow each week. We only spend a few minutes on it because it's largely silly. It's got characters we don't like. We're not so fond of Damien Dark. It's just a bit ridiculous and a bit on the nose and a bit meat-headed. So let's not really talk about it this week, shall we?
No. Legends of Tomorrow. I think
all is forgiven.
All is forgiven. I have been. It has been commented that perhaps I come across as not liking Legends of the Tomorrow, which may have been true for some of the series.
At times,
yes. Not this week.
Yeah.
This week it was awesome.
It was such a good show. It was very confident in its writing, in its being slightly more mature. It handled magic very well, which I don't think we've ever handled magic very well in the CW TV shows. It had a guest star who was very confident, very well done. It did a bit of time travel buffoonery very well.
Yeah.
And then the resolution wasn't Sarah hitting someone.
Yeah.
It was her talking the girl down and dealing with her really nicely.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Really good. And our homework during the hiatus totally paid off.
Yeah. It's amazing that the backstory that we've gotten from watching the Vixen animated shows, and certainly the first half of Constantine, have really helped. I feel like perhaps we're watching them because they've been referenced, so we watch them, rather than we've watched them and it just happens to be this thing. But this feels like the show that is really bringing together the strands of the wider comic book world.
I wonder if one of the reasons they're able to write these sorts starting to write plots which are so different is that they've got fewer boundaries and fewer constraints on what they can do with their characters.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, because like there's certain things with the Flash that you have to do with the Flash, or that you can't do with the Flash. Same with Supergirl, presumably same with the Arrow.
Yeah.
Whereas I suspect precisely because they're B characters, there are less key core sort of mythos or the key core pillars of the characters that you have to work around when you're doing your plotting.
But Amaya was really good.
Yeah.
I liked the Vixen this week. I liked her dealing with her granddaughter.
Yes.
That was excellently done. Zari was good as ever. A very small part this week.
Yeah.
But again, just that thread of we've got these amulets and this is what they mean to different people.
And it's going to be interesting to see, well, where are all the amulets? Because at some point, the 6, probably episode 16 or whatever, will come together to defeat Malice.
Well, we knew there were 5, and now there's a 6th. And the 5 were Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, and Spirit, Animal. So is this other one time, possibly? Is it magic? Is it humans?
Don't know.
There are a lot of things it could be, so I don't know. It's very Infinity Stone.
Yes, it is a bit.
Yeah. Less powerful, which is good. I'm wondering if the next episodes are going to be them going after each gem, each thing, like in time. Hey, we found in the 1300s the fire amulet was owned by this prince. Let's go and get it from him. And then return it to him the next day. And then they have an adventure in that time or something.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
The video gamey go and collect the keys and then go and face the final boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So Constantine was our guest star.
Yes.
And it does very much seem like we thought a guest star for one episode rather than joining the team.
Yeah, I think he'll be back. Because this overarching plot with Malice does seem to very much play into his oeuvre.
Yeah.
Although his Latining didn't seem to do the trick this week.
No. Yeah, him casting a spell was good on people, terrible on Malice. So perhaps there'll be a thing of Malice when he takes human form. It'll work on him better.
Yeah.
The Buffy thing.
Yeah, maybe.
He was very good.
He was very good.
They had to give us a bit of his backstory, which I accept. Constantine was not popular, but the character in general came across. The snarky wit, the humour that we quite enjoy, I think, from the Constantine series. Yeah. The little asides about everything that's going on. Not really taking anything too seriously or being too worried about anything was really good.
And Sarah seemed to enjoy him.
Sarah definitely seemed to enjoy him. And a slightly more mature thing. It was genuinely surprising they had a one-night stand in the middle of this episode. And it's fine.
Yeah.
She's bisexual, he's bisexual. It's okay. Because there was very interesting at the beginning when he meets Wentworth Miller and gives him a, hey, how are you?
Yes, he did, didn't he?
Which I think, in the comics, the character is, but we've never really nodded at it in live action.
Right.
So.
Fair enough. Okay.
Happy to see that.
That was good. What else in this? Damien Dark's daughter.
Mm.
Poor girl.
She was excellent both as the demon.
Yeah.
Because she was properly creepy.
Really creepy.
Yeah. But as the girl, actually, I quite liked her too. I'm almost going to be disappointed when we go back to having adult daughter dog. Nora?
Is it the same girl?
Oh, is it the same girl playing her younger?
No, I'm about to say, is it the same girl? Does he only have one daughter?
Yeah, I think we know her as an adult, travelling through time and bringing him back.
Oh.
That's so. Amaya's granddaughter turns up and has that line of, "I need to protect the moment she became his," and it's an implication of this girl becomes Malice's. But it's possible it's the moment Nora becomes Damien's salvation.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Because I'd forgotten that it was his daughter that brought him back. And I'd stopped thinking of... I'd not thought of her as the same person as the woman that brought Damien back from the dead.
Right.
And of course, this is now making my head completely twist in knots in terms of time travel. Because... this feels like a Damien that's a continuum from her having brought him back.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is her past. This is like totally river songing it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. She has brought him back to enable him to go and see her to convince her to bring him back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost Back to the Future, isn't it?
Yeah, my brain is now shrivelling into a little knot of confusion. But very good. I mean, this is a proper sinister version of Damien Dart, though. Yeah,
that was very good. Very well done. Mm. So, like the other shows, it's almost setting a lot of things up.
Mm.
Ray had a line of, hey, if we save her, maybe she won't hate us in the future.
Yes.
So, and perhaps this is now going to change their interactions with her in the future or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But, because the way they treat time travel is it's not set.
Mm.
You can actually change things. So, having now had this episode, perhaps when they see her next time, interactions will be different. Maybe.
Maybe.
Be interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, even though they were setting stuff up, it still was an entertaining adventure story.
Mm.
You know, and then lots of good interactions between the characters.
Yeah.
And it wasn't confusing between the characters. They've got the right characters and they've got the right number of characters.
Yeah.
And they've got enough subplots going on to make it entertaining.
And yeah, they diminished Nate and Rory. Mick, whatever his name is.
Mick.
Yep. They diminished their parts in this. They didn't, I mean, Rory barely did anything. And Nate, he had the good moment with the granddaughter. And I think you needed that counterpoint rather than just, and she's now nice.
Mm.
So that's interesting. But they didn't really have much of a part in this. So I wonder if they're getting used to, okay, this is our ensemble now. And sometimes we'll write more for some of them, sometimes we'll write a bit less. But now you don't have Jackson Stein.
Yes.
Perhaps it's got a little bit more space for things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree. It was good.
Good. Yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I'm very easy to say that Legend of Tomorrow was the best episode this week.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think there's anyone in particular who had a good week?
Sarah.
Yeah?
Sarah had a good week.
Think she had a good one?
Good week.
Yeah.
No, but also I think Sarah's character is now a fully fleshed out character.
Mm.
There was, I think, in earlier seasons of Legends of Tomorrow, that there was a little bit of two-dimensionality to her, and she was very quick to go to anger and aggression.
Yeah.
Whereas the Sarah that we have now, that cares about her team, that's a leader, and I don't know, yeah, I'm very much, and has a bit of a flirtation here and there, and you know, there's a softer side to her as well. Yeah, I think she's. I think she had a good week.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think some of that might come from the fact, for us, the Wonder Woman film was done so well in showing a female superhero who's not just I'm going to go and punch everyone, is trying to actually find a world where there is space for people to get on.
Are you saying that you think that might have influenced the writing of Sarah in a different way?
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah, possibly.
I mean, the Wonder Woman thing of I choose love, and I want to work towards things being better rather than just I'm strong, so I'm going to protect the weak or protect the defenseless, but actually standing up to try and make a change. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
because that's where I feel she is now.
Yes.
She is prepared to run into the battle, run into the thing to be, okay, let's make a difference.
Yes. Do you think there is going to be at some point a crossover with Arrow where she has she already come up against Black Canary?
I think she might have already.
Right.
Was she in Crisis? So it was the Earth X Black Canary, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh.
I'm just wondering if there is a climax in Arrow around Black Canary and boring detective Lance. Would that be an opportunity for Sarah to be crossed over into it to be part of the plot?
They'd have to acknowledge it. I'm not sure it would be a full crossover.
Yeah.
It might be she turns up for a funeral or something. But,
yes.
And for reasons she can't use time travel to stop it. Reasons. Okay.
Yeah.
And that wraps us up for another week. If you have thoughts, questions or comments, you can use the hashtag ATAV on Twitter, or find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as Eloquent Gushing. If you want to help support us, please check out our Patreon page where you can get access to exclusive content across all our shows. Go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing and visit the homepage eloquentgushing.com to sign up for the weekly newsletter about all the goings on across all our shows. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you across the Arrowverse.
Across the Arrowverse is an Eloquent Gushing production. For more shows you'll love, please visit eloquentgushing.com.
Giving it a few seconds of silence.
I'm mentally playing the music.
How does that music go, Catherine? Is that a podcast?
I can't sing a trumpet.
It starts off with Hans Zimmer. Boom.